off pretty dope, man. It
Yo,
was, and I had so many plans planned this year. You know, it's so crazy. Like, I was supposed to be in Argentina right now. Um,
word.
yeah, it was tough, man. But yeah, well, we had a good time while we could, you know. So, but yeah, like my showcase. This is kind of something I was thinking about when you were talking about this. Like, who do you do it for? You know. And what I was thinking about when you said that, I was thinking about the thesis showcase that I did, and I was like, um, you know, I watched the footage, and I didn't really like my dance at all, honestly.
Mm,
But the thing was like the feeling when I was doing it was mad complex, and I'm like, as in the thought process was mad complex, and I'm not used to dancing in that mind space, you know, where it's like I'm used to like, you know, just drop a track, let's get down type thing.
right.
Um but then like I had a message that I wanted to share with this, you know, and it was kind of like but ultimately what I was thinking about was like I want to give people permission to do what was like kind of shunned when I was coming up, you know, where it was like, hey, I want y'all to be able to be vulnerable. I want y'all to be able to express like emotions that are sad or like express pain, you know, like when I was coming up, like a lot of my homies, like they would say I would talk too much, you know, like you're too philosophical, you think too much, you know, or you know, I would want to talk about some like serious shit or life shit, but it was more like, you know, we only express pain through hardness, you know, like you gotta just, you know, like go hard, you know, like aggression. It was like it wasn't, there was no space for being soft, you know,
Hmm.
and being soft is not like something to be like, you know, afraid of or like, you know, something to cover up. Like we should all be soft at moments, you know? So I was
Yeah.
just like, that performance was more about like, I want to give people permission to, to do that because I felt the pain when I couldn't do that, you know?
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
man. Yo,
so
I
it was,
felt your, yeah,
yeah,
I was gonna say, I felt your performance, like, and you were telling me about it, like, prior in the hotel and, like, breaking down,
yeah.
like, just going through the songs and, like, which song did you want to choose and which performance you wanted to go with. And I think for me, like, watching your thought process, even at the hotel, all the way up to the battle and the performance, to me was like a performance in itself. And like I was like
That's
yo, like
crazy.
it was dope to see, because I was like, damn, like it was vulnerable, but it was you kind of like showing how much you care for what it is that you're doing and how you present it.
Mm,
And it showed
mm,
how, even with you, whatever you may have been dealing with as far as conflict of should I share this or should I not share this, that probably still was creeping up in your head, you still chose to share it. And from that moment, like when I was in the hotel, every time you talked about it, I was in that world or space of like what you were going to do. But when you did it at thesis, I felt like we all were in your world. Like we got to see how your brain works. And I think to me, that's sometimes the illest thing a dancer could do. Like sometimes dancers always are like, it's all about the technique that the dancer shows, or it's all about the musicality, it's all about the rhythm. But to me, like if a dancer could show you his or her thought process with the movement, like if he's dancing or she's dancing and you can kind of visualize the lab and visualize like, yo, how did he train for this? How did she train? You know what I mean? Like if you
mm.
when your dance starts to show the process more than the result, to me it's mad ill. And when you were doing your showcase, like I just kept thinking like, yo, how did he construct this part when he was writing the poem? What brought him to, you know what I mean? And then you were
Yeah.
freestyling at that. It wasn't even choreographed. So it was kind of like, how much moves did he store into this one bar? Because there was so much things you could have did, but you did this. It was like you put us in
Mm.
a really big bubble of what your mind is. And to me, that was like mad ill. You know what I mean? So
Uh,
I can understand. I mean, for whatever personal reason, you may not have liked the performance, but for me, when I saw it, I enjoyed it so much because of those things. Like to me, you not only show how vulnerable you could be, but you showed us the mental. of what goes on in D Soul's mind with your movement. And
Mm.
to me, that was ill.
Man, thanks, bro. Yeah, I mean, it's always it's dope to hear someone else's take on it, you know, because like
Yeah.
we can all get trapped in our own criticism, you know. It's like because when I reflect back on it, you know, and the thing was is like when you were talking about like doing it for yourself or not, you know, at when I you were with me through the whole process of like trying to decide, so.
It's,
I was so torn, you know, like I was always going back and forth, self-doubt, you know, it's like, but then to hear what you have to say is like, you know, I like I just I had all these choices, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna choose this one and I'm gonna do it because it could just affect that one person in the back of the room, like or if it's just yourself that you could see that there was a lot of thought process going into it, or, like I brought you into this world. It's like, you know, if I did that for one person, that's good enough for me. And I did it for the one
yeah.
person because dude, after that showcase, dude, I walked out. Dude, I was pissed, dude. I walked to the liquor store and back. I was having a moment, bro. It was
Mm,
crazy. It was real crazy because I was like, yeah, it felt really off. And then I was like, you didn't do it. Like I had a talk with myself at the liquor store as I'm buying like a shot of Goldschlager. Like this. I was like, you need to chill out, man. You need to, you need to chill out. But then I was like, yeah, actually, it was mad funny because the guy could see that I was pissed. This guy walked in and he was just kind of like a street dude he could see that I was feeling some type of way, and he's
uh-huh.
like, he talks to me and I look at him and he's like, oh, how are those, man? He saw me with a gold slogger thing with the mint floaty things in there and
Mm,
it's like peppermint schnapps or whatever. And he's like, how are those, man? And he's like already kind of drunk. I was like, they're pretty good, man. He's like, hey, man, let me buy you one of those. Yeah, I'm gonna try this. And I was like, dang, man, it's like, he felt me too, though. It was
nice.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how I feel about the guy that's already half drunk off the street, like kind of feeling me, like oh
Facts.
shit. I was like,
Facts.
dang, we on the same wave, bro. This worries me a bit, but
Yo, I had moments like that too, yo. I remember like again talking about the whole footwork and things like as far as like doing footwork or just like being like a traditional life, yeah. I remember I used to go home after like a battle or showcase, like whether me and my homie Richie would be in my crib and we just be talking, and I'd be like, "Yeah, man, like I'm tight. Like I could have did this, yo, and people hating on me and whatever, or I could have did this footwork. I had this move, yo." And I remember one day my older
yeah,
brother came in the room and he's like, "Yo, y'all argue so much. This is just dancing. Don't y'all do y'all enjoy yourself out there?" And I'm just like, damn, what the fuck? Because it's like somebody from the outside just like asking you, like, damn, like every time you come to the crib, you complain about something with the dance world. Like shit, I'm thinking when you go outside, you enjoying yourself. And I'm like, you know what? Like, you're right. I should be out there enjoying myself. So even at thesis, I had a little moment where I was like, I wish I did this, I wish I did that. But I think every time I think about like what my brother said, that moment, and then other people, it's kind of like, okay. And it's kind of similar to that moment with the guy in the liquor store. It's kind of like it brings you back to reality. Like, you know what? Trial and error. It's going to
yeah,
keep on going forward from here.
yeah. It's never the end. Yeah, and I think that's like kind of a thing I've been thinking about lately too. Is like this concept of diversification. It's like when you're so invested in one thing in one moment and one experience and there's all this expectation built up, it's like when you think about it in the big picture, that's also like a form of diversification. Is like
Yeah.
you think about the future things that it's building towards, like you think about all that is to come. Like this isn't the end. That's a mental diversification. And it's the same thing when you go into the dance world and everything is like this microclimate of like politics and people bullshitting,
Yeah.
and then but then it's like even though I may not enjoy my job 100%, but it's like when I go to my other job, it's like oh, it gives me a perspective shift where I can go like, oh man, this dance stuff is fun, you know?
Yo, for real. Nice. Seriously, it makes you realize like the beauty in certain things that, we often take for granted, and we got to cherish them because if they get wiped away, we're like, damn, remember that? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's a trip, man. Yeah, bro. Man, we could keep going, bro, but I gotta teach a class right now. I'm like,
uh,
I knew an hour was not gonna be enough, bro. I knew it.
yeah, man.
We could
Yeah.
talk for hours, man, but we should do this again soon, bro, because like there's so much I still want to pick your brain about too, as far as like all the history you got, and then we could get into some like I just want an education on anime and all types of shit, bro.
Word facts. Nah, I mean, yo, like we got nothing but time right now, yo. We can even pick this back up tomorrow or later whenever you guys want, whenever you want to, Like,
Yeah, sounds good, bro. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Like, I'm gonna save these. I'm gonna post these on YouTube. So, for the people listening, I'll put this whole interview up on YouTube. And
word.
yeah, man, it's always you always bless me with some knowledge, bro. And
Yo,
yeah, I appreciate you, brother.
appreciate you too, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see you soon, bro. I'll hit
I
you up. I'll get to this class, and yeah, we'll make another one happen.
Yeah, man, for sure. Peace.
All right, peace, brother.